75% of respondents feel the economy will remain steady or improve. And again, this is the evidence that's necessary. If you remember, 80% said, or slightly over 70% said that they were planning on expanding in 2011. This is where that's coming from. And, again, small businesses it helps them when the climate improves. Not only does it help them in terms of their sales, but it helps them in terms of their own financing. Many small businesses rely on credit. They rely on credit cards. They relied, especially in the era from 2001 to 2007, they relied on home equity lines. And they would use their own residence or the residence of the land that their property was on as the means of getting their financing. As the housing crisis has hit, as prices have plummeted, the home equity line market has dried up for many of these people. In fact, 15% of small businesses report that their homes are underwater, so they can't use them as their piggy bank anymore. They can't use them for expansion. So as, again, the economy hits bottom, as housing prices stabilize, as banks look around, and especially small community banks, they're not involved in the same type of financing that caused all the problems back in 2008. They're not involved in that daily liquidity need. They get their financing through their customers. They get their financing through their deposits, and they use those deposits then to make loans. So if there's any kind of destabilization from the Greece problem, that will probably affect big businesses and big banks more than it will affect community banks and small businesses. And so as this process continues, more and more of these small banks will see increased sales, and they will turn to those community banks for more business. And those banks should, again, as deposits increase, as incomes grow, as people become more confident, those community banks should be able to meet most of their needs. Looking at business management, this, again, had to do with how did you get your way through the recession. And, businesses have to deal with their suppliers. They have to deal with their customers. And 30% found that dealing with their suppliers became more difficult. Again, this is normal. In a recession, everybody becomes more careful. Everybody's engaged in more risk management. And suppliers have to make sure that they're going to get paid for those items that they put out there. So that would not be a problem. But 65% have not been forced to increase their cost to their customers, which was important. And they cut back on their, some of their costs, and they were able to handle things. On the next slide, you see that only 25% actually decreased their employee headcount over the last year. That's a good sign. That means that most of these businesses are still positioned strongly to take advantage of the recovery, and they have cut back to try to meet the temporary needs, but they're there. But they are going to need to restore those employees, and they're going to need to expand if they're going to take advantage of any kind of recovery. On the last slide in this section, you can see that respondents were evenly split on which line item they would reduce. They reduced employees, but they also cut back on benefits, as we saw earlier. They were able to get better lease payments or rental payments, and they cut back on their marketing and other items as well. This, is normal. When times get tough and you're not getting the revenue, then you have to reduce the costs if you want to maintain your bottom line. It is normal for businesses to cut back. The next item deals with the New Hampshire advantage, which we talked a little bit about before, and 75% think that New Hampshire is a good or great place to do business. And the big advantages here are that it's a good place to raise a family, the tax structure is important to them, and the ease of transportation makes it another factor that's there. The airports, the road system, and so on make it an easy way to hit your markets. And those are all big advantages for people doing business. The last section deals with the environment, and most of the respondents indicated that they were concerned about being green and think that it's important to be green. They think that that if they can use recycled materials and if they can conserve energy and so on, that this is something that they want to do. Again, it makes sense during a recession. Anything that can reduce your costs, anything that can make you more responsive to changing costs is important.